The question is, what's next? What shocking thing could Apple introduce?
When it comes to Apple, it's not so much about whether they're going to be making a big new product. It's about what type of new product it'll be and when we might expect to get it. And right now, Apple has been working in secret for years on something that could absolutely change how we view the company. The Apple Car. Yes, this mysterious vehicle has been in the works for a while now, but soon, very soon even, it might get unveiled to the world in full, and we can see if their hard work paid off. So, given that, allow us to show you Apple's next big product, the Apple Car. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. 7. An overview.
Apple? Yeah, that'll be more direct.
If this is the first time you're hearing about the Apple Car, don't feel bad. It's not as though the car is about to burst onto the market or anything. In fact, we're sure many of you are surprised that Apple would enter the car world because they're always a group that focuses on various types of computer tech and aren't even close to being a car maker. And yet, they're doing this. So, what exactly is the Apple Car as we know it now? The Apple Electric Car Project, codenamed Titan, is an electric car project undergoing research right now at the company. Apple has yet to openly discuss any of its self-driving research, but around 5,000 employees were reported to be working on the project as of 2018. So, as you can now see, it's something that's been in the works for a while, despite the lack of showing much. A couple of key elements that you might have missed is that this is going to be an electric car, and quite possibly a self-driving one, which is important for a variety of reasons. 6. The electric car boom.
We're focusing on autonomous systems.
You see, right now in the world, there is a need for electric cars. People are finally realizing that gas-powered cars are bad, not just for the world's economy, because of its dependence on oil-bearing nations, but also it's bad for the environment and is contributing to global warming. As such, companies like Tesla have helped lead the charge to try and change the world by making only electric cars, which have no negative emissions and can be as far-going as regular gas-powered cars. So, it makes total sense for Apple to get in on this game, with their own twist on things, of course. Central to Apple's strategy is a new battery design that could radically reduce the cost of batteries and increase the vehicle's range, according to a third person who has seen Apple's battery design. That's a key factor in many ways because the battery element is what many electric car makers right now are working to bolster and improve with every model so that their cars can be more efficient and, by extension, more viable as purchasers. So, if Apple is looking to outdo what is going on right now, they definitely need to make sure the batteries are as top-notch as possible, which Apple can totally do if they put their minds to it. 5. Self-driving car.
Automakers have been trying to integrate your phone into your car, and now it feels like this has been turned on its head. It's integrating your car essentially into your phone.
The other elements, as mentioned earlier, is that Apple seems really driven to go down the path of self-driving cars. According to reports, they've already made self-driving cars and have been testing them for years. The results haven't always been promising, but that's why you do tests, to get the bugs out. But why focus on self-driving cars? Well, that would likely be because many people think that self-driving cars are the future. Because people driving cars is dangerous for a whole host of reasons. All it takes is one mistake and a major accident can happen. But with a self-driving car, that risk is limited. Very limited, in fact. If tested properly and made so no bugs can interfere with the process, then self-driving cars can basically eliminate road risk. And given the grand scale of Apple's OS systems in the past, it makes sense that they feel they can make it work. Granted, this would take a whole lot of testing on grand scales and need a lot of approval from various agencies before allowing it to happen in the world at large. But it could work. Apple has decided to tap outside partners for elements of the system, including LiDAR sensors, which help self-driving cars get a three-dimensional view of the road. Two people familiar with the company's plan said, Apple's car might feature multiple lidar sensors for scanning different distances. Another person said, some sensors could be derived from Apple's internally developed LiDAR units. That person said, Apple's iPhone 12 Pro and iPad Pro models released this year both feature LiDAR sensors. So it's proven tech to an extent. Again, it's not a sure thing for obvious reasons. But should they pull this off before someone like Tesla, they'd have another jump on their competition. 4. How to make a car from scratch.
And clearly one purpose of autonomous systems is self-driving cars.
You might think, because of Apple's status, that it would be very easy to go and make a car. In theory, kind of. But you're thinking small scale. Making a singular car can be an easy task if done right. But they're trying to make a whole line of cars for people to buy, and that's another matter entirely. Making a vehicle represents a supply chain challenge, even for Apple, a company with deep pockets that makes hundreds of millions of electronic products each year with parts from around the world, but has never made a car. It took Elon Musk's Tesla 17 years before it finally turned a sustained profit making cars, which, for the record, was very recently in terms of Tesla going from dream electric car maker to leader in the electric car world. That being said, some are positive it can work. If there's one company on the planet that has the resources to do that, it's probably Apple. But at the same time, it's not a cell phone, said a person who worked on Project Titan. That's the thing though. Apple has had issues at times making their products truly reach their full potential. They had success with the Mac, but it was after a great deal of testing. Plus, remember, it was the Apple II that made the market go crazy. And while the iPhone was good at first, it took a few iterations to truly nail down the cell phone feel. Not to mention, there are some who won't touch the iPhone for one reason or another. Also, remember that they currently don't have a factory that is designed solely to make these cars. It remains unclear who would assemble an Apple-branded car, but sources have said they expect the company to rely on a manufacturing partner to build the vehicles. So there's a lot of unknowns here, and while that can be worked out in the end, it still doesn't mean it'll all be fixed when the time comes. 3. The next level battery.
Apple plans to use a unique monocell design which can mean only one thing: more range.
As for the car's battery, Apple plans to use a unique monocell design that bulks up the individual cells in the battery and frees up space inside the battery pack by eliminating pouches and modules that hold battery materials, one of the people said. Apple's design means that more active material can be packed inside the battery, giving the car a potentially longer range. Apple is also examining a chemistry for the battery called LFP, or lithium iron phosphate, the person said, which is inherently less likely to overheat and is thus safer than other types of lithium-ion batteries. It's next level, the person said, of Apple's battery technology, like the first time you saw the iPhone. They can say the battery is good, but the proof will be in the literal pudding, as it were, because people will look at range before recharge as the main factor of worth. 2. Price. Apple has shown many times in the past it's not the best place ever when it comes to how they handle prices on their products. They're never afraid to go big with the price so they can turn a major profit. And while they claim that their Apple car is going to be for consumers, that's not a guarantee of a low cost. Tesla has had to work hard and innovate in order to get the price of their cars down, and they're still expensive in their own right. So for Apple, a new car maker, to make an affordable car, let alone an electric-powered self-driving car, they need to make sure they don't go over the top on materials. It's hard to predict the price given that we haven't seen a car, but we'd expect it to be high. And number 1, the release date?
To do this. That said, one of the disadvantages that Apple has is that it doesn't have generations and generations of experience designing and building and selling cars.
This is one that we have a little bit more confirmation on. A recent article stated that Apple is planning to have their car ready for release by 2024 at the latest. which would mean they started on this project a few years back and will only have results about 4 years from now. It paints a danger on this project because that's 4 years of Tesla and other car makers building electric cars and innovating them. For Apple's sake, their car really does need to knock everyone's socks off, else it'll just have been a waste of time. So, what do you think? What do you think of this look at the Apple car and how it might just be the next big step in Apple's evolution as a company? What would you personally expect from a vehicle like this? Do you think that this is something that you'd want to drive? Should it be special? Do you think Apple's penchant for having big price tag items might hold it back? What do you honestly think will happen with it once it launches? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you the next time on the channel.